Hey guys, and welcome to East Coast Brewing Plus Barbecue. And tonight I'm going to show you guys how to make Dr Pepper Jalapeno Jerky. Yes, it's going to be awesome. A few things before we get started here. Number one, you gotta have a home brew. Now if you have no home brew, go down to your beer store and get yourself some beer. Preferably craft beer. That is good. You should make some beer jerky sometime. Okay, number two, this recipe can be used with whatever type of meat you want to use. I'm using eye of round roast, so beef. You can use it with venison, elk, whatever meat you want to use it with, okay? Bear meat, whatever, it doesn't matter. And third, you can use this recipe on the smoker, on a dehydrator, or the oven. Today we're going to be using the dehydrator because in Midwest Canada it's winter and I don't do a lot of, I can do it outside, but it's just not a lot of fun. So we're going to use the dehydrator this time. Maybe I'll do it again on the smoker and show that to you. But if you only have an oven, you can use that as well. Now a lot of new ovens have a dehydrate setting on them, so check your oven. A lot of people don't even know that they have this setting. It's in your manual or it might be on the front there somewhere. So check that out. All right. So what are you going to need to do this? Pretty simple stuff, some pretty simple ingredients. I've gone ahead and mixed this up, some of our dry ingredients, but I'm going to put down in the description. I'll put all of the measurements and the ingredients you're going to need, but I'll tell you them here. You got 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. We've got 2 teaspoons of black pepper, a teaspoon of garlic, and a teaspoon of onion powder. And that's what we have in our dry ingredients. And then because we're not going to be doing it on the smoker, we're going to use a teaspoon of liquid smoke, 2 cups of Dr Pepper, of course, and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, and 2 jalapenos sliced up with you want the seeds and everything, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is get this stuff all mixed together in a pot. I just need my measuring cup. Hold on. Alright. So we're going to get our Dr Pepper put in. That's alright. So it's going to be really sweet with heat, this recipe. It's foaming up a little bit. If you're not exact on the measurements, it's going to be okay. It's still going to turn out great. While we're doing this, be sure to subscribe to the channel because we're going to be doing lots of great brewing and lots of great barbecuing. Out on the smoker, we're going to be doing ribs, brisket, chicken, all kinds of great stuff. So make sure you guys are subscribing. Alright, and then a little bit of liquid smoke. Don't want to overpower it. Alright. And we're going to do a tablespoon of this salt. I'm going to do 2 of these because this is a half tablespoon measurement. There we go. That's good stuff. Did I mention you need a home brew? Man, nothing goes better with making beef jerky or jerky than a home brew or a beer. Alright, let's get our dry ingredients in here. I got a little stuck in there. Alright, we're done with that. And our jalapenos. Oh, this is going to be good. Now, once you've got this all put together in here, we'll give her a good stir, mix it all up nice. And then what you're going to want to do is bring it to a boil. And the reason you want to do that is because it actually gets all the ingredients mixing together really good. All the sugars in the Dr Pepper and the spices, as well as it starts to release a lot of the juices from the jalapeno that you otherwise wouldn't get if you were to just put this in to your marinade cold, okay? So we're gonna get that started on the oven, or stove here, and I'll show that to you in just a second. Before I start that, just a heads up, when you're cutting up your meat, what I like to, I mean it's personal preference, but what I like to do is go about 1/4 of an inch thick. That way you still, when it doesn't dry out too quick and you don't get a brittle jerky. You can get a little bit of a, you know, a really dry but a little bit chewy yet. So that's my personal preference, 1/4 of an inch, but you know, 1/8 of an inch works as well. So, and I've got about 3 pounds of this. So it's gonna be a pretty big batch. So we're gonna get this started on the stove, and we'll show that to you right away. Alright guys, we just finished boiling this, and now we're just letting it simmer here a little bit. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna actually take it off the heat, and I'm gonna let it cool down. If you need to do this in a hurry, you can do it just in your freezer, you know, or your fridge. That'll work as well. Or you can just let it sit at room temperature till it cools down. So once this is cooled down, I'll be back to show you the next step. And this smells amazing, by the way. Dr Pepper and jalapenos. And of course, all the other awesome ingredients. Okay, we're back, and our marinade has now cooled down, and we're ready to throw it in with our meat. So we're going to do that. I might not have a big enough bowl here. Now, if you don't have a glass bowl with a lid like this, you could just use a Ziploc freezer bag. That'll work out just perfectly. In fact, it actually might work out better than a bowl. We're going to throw this in here. We're going to cover it over, and I'm going to shake it up with the lid on the bowl, and we're going to leave it in the fridge overnight to marinate. Minimum 4 hours, but if you can leave it overnight, that's even better. So we'll be back in the morning to show you the dehydrating process and the finished product, and we'll give it a taste test and see how it is. We'll see you shortly. Cheers. Alright, good morning. Now we've had this marinating overnight, so we're ready to put it on the dehydrator. Quick little trick. As you take them out of your marinade, just lay them on a cookie sheet with some paper towel, just to get some of the excess liquid off. You just go like that. I'm going to show you here. I'm not going to go through the entire process here because it takes a little bit of time, but I'll just show you what's up. Just go like that. Take an extra paper towel, and then just pat them down like that, just to get some of the extra liquid off. I've got all my racks here for my dehydrator, and we're going to start laying those out on that, just like that. I'll show you guys as the process continues with the dehydrating. I'll show you all the jerky on the racks. So I'm going to get this all on here, and then I'll be back in a little bit to show you how the process is going. Alright folks, so we've had this going for about 7 hours. As you can see, it's starting to dry out really nicely. One thing about my dehydrator is the stuff on the outside edges dries a lot quicker than the inside, so I have to switch it around a little bit, you know, partway through the drying process. Also, I do switch around the racks off and on, but we're going to let, some of this is pretty spongy still. I know there's a couple of pieces in here that are getting pretty close to being done. So I'm going to monitor this closely over the next coming hours here, and probably slowly take off some of the pieces that are a little bit smaller. And we'll be back to do a taste test and finishing it up. Because I think, well, like I said, it's been about 7 hours. I think we'll go to, oh, I don't know, maybe 10? Depending on how things are going, probably around 10 hours. I've gone as much as 12 hours before, so we'll see. We'll be back. Okay guys, here's the finished product. Now, some of this came off at around 10 hours, and some of it came off at around 12 hours. Now the consistency is perfect. It turned out beautifully. It's got a few pepper flakes in there,
But I mean, it turned out great. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, going out of focus there a little bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, you know what? I think I would go with the 1/4 inch again because it turned out really, really good. So I think that's the way to go. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you've tried this recipe before, I'd like to hear how it turned out for you. Cheers.